Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the next video in the Breakthrough Product Creation series, and in this video we're going to talk about what you probably all want to know about, which is creating the report. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that this needs to be a quality report. And one thing Shane and I always kind of joke around saying is that we would never sell anything that we wouldn't want our moms buying, because we wouldn't want our moms buying something that isn't a high quality report and wouldn't help them. So by the time we're done reading through what we just wrote, it's, we read through it in the sense that, would we want our moms buying this? And I know it sounds silly, but if you kind of think about it, it's true, and it's a good thought process to have. So yeah, like I said, it needs to be a high quality report. You did the research for a reason, and now it's time to apply that research. Don't let all that research go to waste. You spent hours and hours researching this topic, and you need to apply what you learned. You also need to be in a helping mindset, and that is, in my opinion, one of the keys to creating a quality report. You want to make sure while writing this, you're actually helping people. You don't want to just write words on paper. You want to have the mindset that people are going to be reading this, and you're the one that they're trusting, and you need to help them. So you really need to put yourself in a mindset to want to help other people. You want to help those that purchase it. And most importantly, you need to be confident when writing. I know you probably don't view yourself as the authority on the topic, but guess what? You're writing a report on this topic. You are now the authority, and you need to write in a way that shows your readers that you are confident with what you're talking about. So you're now the authority on this topic, and so you need to start acting like it, okay? Let's talk about the 4 qualities of a winning report. If you have these 4 qualities within your report, it's more than likely going to be a high quality report. So let's go over them one by one. The first is it must be structured and easy to follow. I don't know about you guys, but I have purchased so many WSOs that are just completely unstructured, not organized at all. By the time I was done reading them, I have no idea what the heck the guy was talking about. And we do not want that to be your guys' report. Your report needs to be structured and easy to follow. So that way, by the time the person's done reading it, they know exactly what to do. They had no problem understanding anything, okay? The next thing, number 2, is it must be beginner friendly. It must be newbie friendly. If you think about it, the majority of the people that are going to be purchasing your report are going to be newbies. There's chances are good that an advanced marketer is not going to be purchasing, $4 WSOs. So a good bulk of the people that purchase this report are going to be newbies. They're going to be beginners who have never done this before, who don't know even the basics of, maybe setting up a WordPress blog. So you need to keep that in mind when writing. Don't assume that they already know everything. You need to write for the beginners. The next thing is it needs to be actionable. It needs to be step by step. This is extremely important. As your reader is going through the report, you want them to be able to follow along chapter by chapter and take action with each chapter. I'm going to talk about how to ensure that happens in another section. But you want to make sure that when the person is reading the report, that they can take action. So it needs to be actionable. You don't want it to be just theory. You want them to be able to take action on what they're learning. And fourth, and probably most importantly, the method must work. You don't want to put out a report on, like I said, you don't want to put out a report on just theory. You want a method that actually works. And even if you've never done this method before, you need to make sure that it has worked for other people before you write about it, okay? So those are the 4 qualities of a winning report. And now let's talk about the structure of your report. Your report is going to follow the same basic structure. Pretty much all of your reports are going to follow the same basic structure. They're all going to start with a brief about me section. And you definitely want to include about me section. That way people can relate to you. But you want to keep it brief. I don't know about you, but I've purchased so many WSOs where I read their about me section and it just goes on for like 15, 20 pages. And by that time, I really don't care, So make sure you keep your about me section nice and brief, to the point. The people purchased your product to learn the system. They didn't purchase it to learn about you. The second thing is to do an introduction and system overview. This is very important. I really like including system overviews in my reports because it kind of shows them before they even get started where all this is headed. It shows them what the goal is, what the start is, what the end is. They don't need to know everything in between yet. That's what the rest of the report is for, but it's important that they know what the entire goal of the system is, what the bird's eye view of the system is, before they even get started. The third thing is chapter content and homework. Okay, so after your introduction and the system overview, you're going to do your chapter contents, and at the end of each chapter, you're going to have homework for them. So as you create your chapters, as you fill in the content, you want to make sure that you're leaving screenshots where you need to leave screenshots. You want to make sure that the instructions you're leaving for them are clear on how to do things. And then at the end of each chapter, you want to leave homework. Now, the homework is very important because that's what makes this report actionable. That's what makes it to where they could read each chapter, apply the work, read another chapter, apply the work, read another chapter, apply the work, and so on. And I've noticed when I started including homework in my reports, I started getting really good reviews from people saying they love how they were able to follow along with the report and take action as they went through the report. They didn't have to read through the whole report and then take action. They would read a chapter, take action, read a chapter, take action. And so it's really important to include homework just because, it really does help make the report actionable. And that is extremely important. Once you're finished with all the chapters and the homework sections, you're going to go into a conclusion and putting it all together. Now, a lot of people in their conclusions, they basically just say, thanks for picking up the copy. If you need help, let me know. I don't like doing that. I like to make my conclusion a putting it all together type thing. And what I mean by that is they just went through the report, they learned a ton of new information they probably haven't heard before, and you want to make sure they don't get information overload. And the way you do that is by including a putting it all together section. Now, the putting it all together section is almost the same thing as the system overview, but you're basically repeating it. Obviously, you don't just copy and paste it. But you're repeating it. You're reminding them of why they just did all this work and what the end goal is. You want to make sure that they completely understand the system by the time they're done reading it. And the last section is optional. I include it in some of my reports, and other reports I don't, and that is a resources section. So if you, if let's say your report is on blogging, if you recommend a certain theme, go ahead and leave in the resource section a link to that theme. You could also leave affiliate links in here to other products you recommend. I just would recommend you don't leave too many because then people might get annoyed and think you only wrote the report to make affiliate commissions. So if you want to include a resources section, you totally can. If not, it is optional, completely up to you. But what I want to do now is I want to take you over to one of my reports and kind of show you how I applied these 5 steps within one of my reports. So I will see you over at my report. Okay, so here we are on one of my reports called Viral Blogging Breakthrough. And if we scroll down a little bit, this is where you're going to see, this is now my table of contents, but before I made it my table of contents, this was actually my outline. Now you guys should already have this done. Remember in the past video, we told you to do a detailed outline. This is something you should already have done, okay? So that way when you write your report, basically you just have to fill in the content with each section. When you put together a detailed outline like this, it makes creating the report extremely easy because, like I said, all you're doing is filling it in with the information that's needed to be filled in there. So let's take a look at the structure. You'll see I included an About Me section, just like I said. It was short, 2-page About Me section, no big deal at all. And then I moved on to what makes a good blog and understanding the system. Now, I know I just told you guys right after the About Me section you want to do an overview of the system, and that's kind of what I mean by understanding of the system. For this report, I decided to put what makes a good blog before, because that is kind of tied to an overview of the system. Okay, so as you can see, I have my About Me, what makes a good blog, understanding the system. That's kind of the overview of the system. And then from there, I have my chapter titles, and then at the end of each chapter, I have homework. So, you see setting up the Facebook page, my sub-chapters, and then homework. You can see I follow this all the way through. And then at the very bottom, I basically did my conclusion, which was kind of a brief overview of the system. As we go through this book, you're going to see I shared a lot of screenshots. Now, this is very important. You want to share it wherever you can. You want to share screenshots with arrows pointing to what they need to do. Remember when I said you need to make this completely newbie friendly? These pictures with arrows pointing to what they need to click on really helps make it newbie friendly, okay? Now, obviously, you can't include a screenshot for every little detail, but for the major things, the important things, you definitely want to include screenshots. Now, some of you might be looking at this report saying it looks really nice, it's fancy, you got a nice border around it. A lot of people ask me, who do I go to make my reports look nice and fancy like this? And the truth is, I do it myself. Some of you might already know how to do it, others might not. It is extremely easy to do. You could just put a border around it in Microsoft Word. That's all I do to make my reports look nice. Yeah, and I do that because like I said, it makes it look nicer, and the nicer the report looks, the higher the perceived value is. So definitely, you don't have to do it, but if you want to put a little border around your report like that, it does increase the perceived value. Okay, so now it is actually time for the homework. Alrighty, so here we are on the homework section. Now, your first homework assignment is to do more research if you have to. This has happened to me a couple of times where I thought I did all the research I needed, and then I started writing my report, and I realized, you know what, I really do need to learn a little bit more about this topic before I could write what I believe is a quality report. So then I'll just go back and repeat the research process that we did in one of the previous videos. The next thing you need to do is get yourself in the mindset to help others. Again, this is extremely important. You want your report to help others. Hundreds of people are going to be purchasing this, and you want to make sure you help those hundreds of people. You don't want them to read the report and think that was complete crap, they don't know what to do. You want to make sure that by the time they're done reading the report, they know exactly what to do, and you help them quite a bit. Next part of your homework is simply fill in each part of your outline until the product is completed. Once you fill in the outline, basically your product is done. It's as simple as that. And once the product is complete, you want to read through it and make sure the structure is okay and that it's a report that will actually help people. Remember, go back to what Shane and I always say, we would never sell a product that we wouldn't want our moms to buy. So by the time you're done creating a report, go through it. Would you want someone you love and care about, would you want them to buy it? If the answer is yes, then you have a quality report. If the answer is no, then you have more work to do. Okay, so that is creating the report. And I know that might sound a lot simpler to you than you probably thought. A lot of people think creating a report is some crazy hard thing that they're never going to be able to do it. But I really want you guys to get over that hurdle, that mindset. You need to understand that creating the report is not as hard as you think it is. In my opinion, creating the outline is harder than actually creating the report. So hopefully this video helped you understand a little more about creating the report. And again, make sure it's quality. Once you're happy with the quality of the report, it is time to move on to the next video, and I will see you over there.